Chapter number 3, Consumer Equilibrium with Utility Approach, Class 12. Let's first see what is consumer equilibrium. It is a situation under which consumer spends his entire income on purchase of a goods in such a manner that it gives him maximum satisfaction. Then what is utility? Utility is one satisfying power of a commodity. It is subjective in nature, and utility and usefulness are not at all same. Now let us go to the characteristics. There are few characteristics which I have given you. These are all depend upon use. It is subjective. It depends upon shape, depends upon the knowledge, depends upon the ownership. So utility are of two types. One is cardinal utility, other is ordinal. Cardinal means measurable and ordinal means which is not measurable but can be ranked. Cardinal utility been given by Alfred Marshall and ordinal utility given by Hicks. The concept of utility, first is total utility. What is that? That is that total satisfaction derived from the product. And marginal utility, at the word marginal means the border or the edge. It is the additional made to the total utility by the consuming one more unit of goods. So what are the two different type of utility? One is total utility and other is marginal utility. Now total utility, again I'm telling you, it's like some total satisfaction which a consumer receive by consuming the various unit of goods. The more unit of commodity he consumes, greater will be his total utility, definitely, because the marginal will be more. Now let's come to the total utility, explaining more. The total satisfaction of one's need obtained from the consumption of goods and services based on the pre-assumption. What is the pre-assumption? That means assumption is that the amount of utility generated for the consumer goods are increasing. Now you can see the curve. Quantity is there in the x-axis. Total utility is there in y-axis, and we can see as we consuming more and more unit of quantity, total utility is increasing. Now come to the marginal term. The term margin refers to the effect of a small change in consumption. Now marginal consideration are consideration which concern a slight increase or reduction of the stock of anything which possess. Now marginal utility can be defined as the measure of relative satisfaction gained or lost from an addition or increase or decrease of consumption of goods. For example, a motor vehicle or a haircut. So what is the difference? Now it can be obtained through marginal utility is equal to change in total utility, which we call with the delta sign. Let's see the triangle sign, that is delta sign. Delta means the change. So change in total utility divided by change in quantity. Now we can see the diagram. Similarly, quantity axis is x and utils means the units of finding utility. Marginal utility is in y-axis. You can see as we consume more and more unit, marginal utility falls. Now you can see the relationship. The marginal utility is declining, going to 0, and then negative. Total utility is increasing, but as marginal utility go to 0, total utility comes down. We have explained this thing before also for production possibility curve. Now increasing total utility means diminishing marginal utility. Maximum total utility means 0 marginal utility, and decreasing total utility means negative utility, marginal utility. Now cardinal approach. What do you understand by cardinal approach and what are going to study? First, we are going to study law of diminishing marginal utility under this cardinal approach. Now, what are the assumptions? Assumption would be unit of good must be standard. That means standard things should be there. Taste and preference should be same and it can be counted. Now, consumer equilibrium, it means the situation under which consumer spends the given income purchase of a good in such a way that he gets maximum units of satisfaction. Also called the position of rest, where total utility is maximum with the given income. Again, I am telling you the assumption which we follow in this. It is that rationality, that means the consumer is a rational consumer, limited income, maximum satisfaction he requires, obviously diminishing marginal utility, constant marginal utility of money, explaining that. Now consumer equilibrium, a single unit case. For the single unit, I suppose you are consuming a single unit. Now what we have to see for the consumer equilibrium? The marginal utility in terms of money should equal to the price of the commodity. That means marginal utility of product upon marginal utility rupee should be the price of the product. You can see the marginal utility of 1 rupee is defined as the additional unit when additional rupees spent on purchase of the commodity. And consumer, just see here, when the consumer will be consuming 4th unit, he is getting maximum satisfaction because his marginal utility is the last point. Now you can see, if you consume 2 commodities, then the condition should be the same kind of assumption. The condition would be MUX upon PX, that means marginal utility of X upon the price of X equal to marginal utility of Y upon price of Y. And now I have given you this particular example. You can see that a rupee spent and the marginal utility of orange, marginal utility of apple. Definitely he will go to quantity number 3 when he will be getting the maximum benefit. And this particular thing is called law of equimarginal utility, which says that marginal utility of X should be equal to price X and marginal utility of Y should be equal to price Y. That we got to know when we discussed about the single commodity. Now if you see this, then you can find that alternatively consumer is in equilibrium when marginal utility of X divided by PX should be 1, marginal utility of Y upon PY should be 1. Now if you make it together, then it should be marginal utility of X upon PX equal to 1, marginal utility of Y upon PY. Okay. Now since marginal utility of money is constant, because that is, we assume that MUM is constant, then it should be MUX equal to divided by MUY divided equal to PX by PY. Now what is ordinal approach? Ordinal approach means utility cannot be counted. It is given by Hicks, and he says that utility can be ranked. And he says the utility of utility is a function of 2 goods, then U is equal to function of X and Y. Assumptions are consumers are rational, as I told you. Ordinality means it is ranked, like you prefer A over B over C, D, E, like that. And next is diminishing marginal rate of substitution. Diminishing marginal rate of substitution means as we increase the consumption of one commodity, the utility tends to decline. Now consistency. Consistency means, it means if good X is preferred over Y, then definitely, and Y is preferred over X, this itself means that other way around. Now what is transitivity? Transitivity means A to B, B to C, then definitely C to A. Now indifference curve is the curve which shows this relationship. Now let's see. Let us see what is non-satiation. Non-satiation means suppose A combination have got more goods, then people will definitely consume A over B. Now indifference curve, as I told you, that curve representing, just see the curve representing bundle of 2 goods, commodity, food and cloth. Cloth is in Y and food is in X. So bundle of commodities. So it's a curve which shows the set of indifference curve is called indifference map. An indifference map depicts complete picture of consumer taste and preference. Just see, there are 3 IC curve. IC curve means indifference curve, which is showing different level of satisfaction. First curve, U10, I mean it's increasing right side and more satisfaction. Properties are indifference curve slope downwards to the right. The property implies that when the amount of goods combination is increased, then the amount of other commodities reduce. And indifference curve always convex to the origin because of diminishing marginal rate of substitution. Now properties, another 3rd number property is that 2 IC curve never intersect each other, because different IC curve, different level of satisfaction. Then why 2 curve will intersect, right? Now next, 4th is higher the indifference curve represent higher level of satisfaction. Then the lower indifference curve, this is because the combination lying on the higher indifference curve. That's why they say that more higher the indifference curve, higher the level of satisfaction. Now what is budget line? Budget line is a line which is there in the indifference curve analysis, very important. This particular line tells you the price and the income of the consumer. This consists explain that budget line or price line. In simple word, budget line shows all those combination of 2 goods which are actually feasible. Feasible because just see, M is the income is equal to price of X and quantity of X plus price of Y, quantity of Y. Now consumer equilibrium, a consumer is equilibrium when he is deriving maximum possible satisfaction with this following assumption. Now, consumer equilibrium showing the combination. The indifference map depicts the consumer preference scale between various combination of two goods. Just see, two goods, IC curve showing the combination and budget line showing the feasibility, that how much he can purchase with the given level of income and the price. Now, the equilibrium point is IC1, IC2, IC3, IC5 we have seen, but no, exactly that IC will be the combination where the IC will be, the slope of IC is equal to the slope of budget line, and the combination is equilibrium Q. Use a combination when marginal rate of substitution, which is the slope of IC, is equal to the price X divided by price Y. That this is the slope of budget line. So you can see marginal rate of substitution is the slope of IC, which is given by marginal utility of X divided by marginal utility of Y, which is the slope of IC curve. It should be equal to the slope of budget line, and MRS is always negative as it is diminishing. Thank you very much, and that's all. I'm giving you the worksheet. Hope you can do it. Thank you very much. Explanation of all the slides are given down below in the document file. Please go through the document file before you fill up the worksheet. Thank you. God bless.